Okay, you're struggling to grasp this, aren't you? Listen, it's very simple. Let's go through it one last time. Okay, Bitcoin is a digital currency. Got that? Excellent. Okay, an NFT is a non-fungible token. Great. You can understand that. Brilliant. But having a booze up with a load of people in your back garden is not a work event. It's a party. Does that clear it up? No, you're still struggling. You're still struggling to get that? Okay. Not a clue. Hello and welcome to the show. Like a determined superstar sportsman refusing to be vaccinated, we are unshakable in our quest for the best crypto chat and news around. Normally joining us is John Doe, but he's gone AWOL on holiday in Cuba. You could say he's Havana laugh. No, never mind. So this week, it's just myself and our crypto god. But luckily, he's used to challenging circumstances, being an ex-captain in the Paras. He is now Chief Growth Officer at BCB Group. It's Ben Sebley. Welcome to the show.
Thank you, Tom. Pleasure to be here, buddy.
It is great to have you on. Let's start and get straight into the headlines. So first up, in the news this week, Microsoft acquired Activision Blizzard for an eye-watering $69 billion. That made it its biggest deal in its history. Activision Blizzard makes games such as Call of Duty, World of Warcraft, and Candy Crush. Did you see this in the news this week, Ben?
Yeah, I mean, it's just following the trends of a lot of M&A and consolidation in the industry. And it's great to see it with fun stuff like this, but really it's the infrastructure plays and buys that kind of interest everyone else. And it's just showing the maturity of where kind of crypto's now from where it was even 1 year ago, you know.
Really interesting acquisition, obviously from a gaming perspective, from a mobile perspective, and from a metaverse perspective as well. In other news this week, Cardano, which we covered on this show, which is about an eighth the size of Etherum in market cap, exceeded the volume through its blockchain. When compared to Ethereum, it went over 4 billion through the blockchain, which was pretty impressive. You want to know what's more impressive, Ben? The gas fees for 4 billion's worth of transaction volume on Ethereum were $43.9 million. Do you want to know what the gas fees on Cardano were?
Go on, hit me.
$75,000.
It's. I mean, look, we see it all the time. There's a reason that Solana and Cardano are the third and fourth most traded on our OTC desk, and everyone is plugging in those protocols into anything new that comes out alongside Ethereum. Really,
it's crazy, isn't it? I mean, 2021 was definitely the year of Solana, which we'll go into a bit later, but pretty impressive that a chain an eighth the size of Ethereum did the same volume on less than 0.25% of the fees. Our next news item is about NFTs. Although the price action across Bitcoin and other cryptocurrencies has been a little flat or declining, NFTs are popping again. It looks like OpenSea will have its biggest month ever, and that's driven in a resurgence by some of the blue chips, Bored Ape Yacht Club, the Mutant Ape Yacht Club, and others. Just to give you a bit of comparison, the revenue on OpenSea is not far off eBay's monthly revenue figures. However, eBay has 150 million users compared to OpenSea's 1.2 million users. And I don't know whether you saw that as well. Eminem bought a Bored Ape Yacht Club.
Yeah, I've seen it. I actually know some of the guys that are hooking this up privately in the background. Look, NFTs have definitely been the story in 2021. It's really, really interesting. In the last couple of months, we've seen the biggest increase in new incoming clients who want banking off us, all being NFT companies. The problem is, as you're seeing with OpenSea, these guys have hit critical mass. They've gone beyond, but now they're at a decision point. Do they start KYCing their clients so they can expand to the next level, or do they keep it decentralized and kind of feed into that kind of art market? And this is where you're probably going to start seeing regulators and stuff turn onto it and want to come in and start kind of imposing regulation.
Yeah, really good point. You're absolutely right. And I think that's why Looks Rare, which is another platform which is launched, has done so well, because it's a little more decentralized, and we've got this push and pull between centralized and decentralized forces within crypto, and that is one area that will be interesting to see how it plays out this year. Okay, that is the news this week. Now we've got a date with data. It's time to have a look at the markets. Okay, so the Bitcoin price, which is currently sitting at around $42,000, is about 35% off its all-time high. We obviously have been trending down a little bit, but have settled in this range. If we look at our second chart, which shows us the percentage of supply in profit, so how many people holding Bitcoin are sitting in a profit, we can see we're at a relatively low level, and about 30% of all the Bitcoin in existence is sitting at a loss, which points to the fact that it was bought at recent highs. Now that puts pressure on those holders if the price goes down, because we know late entrants can panic sell on the way down. Chart 3 shows us the percent of transfer volume in profit. So this is coins moving and how many of those are in profit. We can see as well we've hit very low levels and have just bounced off those levels. So this is an interesting metric to see whether that bounce continues. And our last chart is the entity adjusted dormancy rate. This has been very good at historically picking or identifying Bitcoin bottoms. When a coin is bought or sold, how many days old, how many days dormant was it? And it gives us a clue as to coins moving from stronger hands to weaker hands. And we have just bounced off this green bar at the bottom twice in recent times. It can take a number of months to play out, but if history repeats itself, then the $40,000 mark may be the bottom of this current cycle. Ben.
So yeah, I mean, those charts start to tell a bit of a story. I think what's definitely key for me to highlight is just a bit of a step back. So what we need to look at is we now need to understand what the industry is. The industry now has a bunch of institutional investors in. And what we hit was the end of a calendar year, and we had a bunch of ultra high net worth whales, retail, all selling a lot of the crypto holdings to pay their tax bill now, because the tax rules are only getting tighter. That caused, or at least led, part of the most recent sell-off. And we troughed it, but we troughed it over a really quiet time in the year. It's the time of the year that we had Christmas, New Year, and then everyone, including the fund managers in the institutional world, come back into the office in January. You have a half week, everyone's spinning, and no one's ready to put the trades on. What I would also say, that the value that we can have at BCB is that because we bank everyone, we see the activity in people's accounts. We know when the crypto markets are volatile or the market's on the move. And what we saw was we had a really quiet December because we had a bit of a sell-off that no one was following. That quiet December really led through into January, up until literally the last 3 days. We're now coming to a period where people have got their feet back under the table for 22. A lot of the fund managers are thinking, okay, what are the smaller, riskier positions like Bitcoin that I'm going to put on? So really what we're waiting to see is this institutional bid come back in, because we are still seeing loads of new market entrants in the background. But I can speak for myself and some of the other players in the market where everyone's just waiting patiently. This is pretty much accepted as probably the bottom in recent highs. It's just the question is, when's it going to go on the move? And I think it will be weeks rather than months. It is my guess there.
Very interesting. Yeah, thank you very much for that. That's a fantastic background and depth into what is. Let's see how this plays out in the coming weeks and months. Now, here's the thing. Have you ever noticed that God is dog spelt backwards, while crypto spelt backwards is Well, it's unpronounceable. So let's not do that, shall we? And spell it the right way around. So our guest this week, as we mentioned, is Ben Sebley, an ex-paratrooper in the military and now Chief Growth Officer at BCB Group. Ben, just give us a bit of background about how you got into crypto and what you're doing at BCB Group.
Yeah, well, thank you. There was a bit in between that. It wasn't a direct jump. That would be a bit crazy, to be honest. I'd still be cleaning my kit if that was the case. But no, I left the military a long time ago and jumped into finance. And I was an equity sales trader at a big investment bank for a long time. And I thought I'd made it. I thought I'd got a great finance job. And I just caught the end of probably what most people in traditional finance call the good days, certainly in the equity world. We were resource constrained and the bonus pools were shrinking because that's why we do it. We don't do it for the love of it. And when 2017 came and crypto kind of planted its flag, I'd been tracking it. Luckily, I'd been getting involved before that. But then I realized, hold on, while the sun's setting on traditional finance, there's kind of a new dawn, and it's crypto. And I jumped across them, which was great, and was lucky enough to have a few other people that we set up a company with, that was an investment advisory company in early 2018. We did quite a few good things. One of the best things sort of I helped do in the company was convince the other partners to invest in what was then BCB Group, which was just a handful of people. And then eventually I came across to help run growth. And we're here where we are now, and it's been a few crazy years, but didn't look back from traditional finance at all.
Give us an overview then of what BCB Group are doing and where they're working at the moment.
BCB Group, for want of a better thing, we solve industry infrastructure problems. So one of the things people don't necessarily realize about the cryptocurrency industry, because most people outside the industry look in, they go, wow, this is the new hot industry. There's money flying in from the venture cap guys. There's huge projects that have IPO'd like Coinbase. These guys must be flying. But actually, cryptocurrency is still globally tarred with the ultra high risk brush from traditional finance. So what that means is, you know, you can be a Coinbase, or you can be a crypto startup, or you can be a traditional finance firm looking to do something in crypto, but you can't get access to things like bank accounts, simple bank accounts. You can't get access to things like FX. So we came in and we solved that. So what we've ended up doing, and the core of what we do, is banking the crypto industry. So we bank pretty much all the kind of major crypto companies. We're lucky enough to also start banking a lot of the big traditional finance companies looking to come in. And we also offer a bunch of ancillary services that people just don't get access to, a bit like FX, OTC trading, crypto custody. And now we're in this really fortunate position where we can basically start turning traditional finance on its head, and we can start offering things like yield and interest on accounts. And that's the kind of aim of where BCB wants to get to next.
And am I right in thinking you've just acquired a German bank to help with that growth into Europe?
Yeah, luckily. So we just completed a financing round, and we acquired a German bank. And part of the kind of key to our success in Europe was that we stayed very nimble in terms of regulatory licenses. We backed onto partner banks, but very quickly we realized, you know, in order to scale properly and tailor what we have to our clients and what they need, we were going to have to own the vertical. And so we've acquired this wonderful German bank, Suter Bank, and that is going to be a big part of our story kind of this year and beyond, in terms of making things cheaper for our clients, making it more tailor-made, making everything run smoother, quicker, with even better service.
Do you think this mix of, you know, traditional finance, centralized finance, and decentralized finance is one of the things that's going to help the new wave of money come into crypto?
Absolutely. I think things like NFTs, etc., they're great, but they're very early stage. I think what's actually going to change finance, certainly from a TradFi perspective, is the launch of centralized finance and decentralized finance. We're actually launching our own products very soon. We're piloting our centralized finance product with DeFi to follow shortly. And what those products allow us to do with the rest of our banking software, etc., is to start giving our customers access to yield. When we look at sort of the macro backdrop, with inflation sort of surging in the high single digits to even double digits, funds don't want to keep the cash there, especially when you've got negative currencies like euros, yen, CHF. This is all kind of hindering growth in not just crypto, but in TradFi. So what people are starting to realize is that you can leverage what crypto has with centralized finance, decentralized finance, and you can turn it into something that is packaged to actually generate a yield and offset fees, and just kind of make money on products that in the traditional space are literally yielding kind of basis points. We're having kind of some very big conversations with some very, very big traditional players who are all very excited for it. What we need to do now is we need to start getting people comfortable with that level of risk, because it's sort of like dipping your toe, certainly on a CFI perspective, you're dipping your toe into crypto, you're getting exposure, it's at arm's length. But understanding that and then making the rest of these big companies' risk committees happy with that is sort of the next challenge. But I think that's going to be the big story for this year, definitely.
Yeah. Any names you can drop about who you see coming into the space, or anything you can tell?
Anyone and everyone. We've had airlines, we've had sovereign wealth funds, we've had traditional funds. A lot of it is traditional macro funds. It's anyone and everyone. So it's pension funds to sovereign wealth funds to traditional corporates. And what I'm most excited about, especially when we saw Bitcoin hit 60K, the phone was going off the hook with CEOs saying, I've seen what's happened with Elon Musk. I've seen what's happened with MicroStrategy. We need to put Bitcoin on a balance sheet. And you'd be shocked at how many people now have coin on the balance sheet. That's a very long-winded way of saying, can't tell you any names, but I can tell you the types of people that are coming in.
Yeah, really, really good, really exciting. And like you say, if you've got cash or money, what do you do with it right now? If you hold it, it's going to be devalued. The stock market's overvalued. Do you do mergers and acquisitions that are inherently risky? What do you do with it? And I think clearly companies like yours and others who are providing education and easier ways to get into crypto are going to be what is a key catalyst for growth. And I think we saw that a little bit just in the news this week as well, with Coinbase saying they're teaming up with MasterCard so that they can enable, I'm guessing, swift, easy payments from your credit card to buy NFTs when they launch their marketplace. I guess I see that as another avenue of, sort of this traditional stroke new finance world coming together.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, look, the on-off ramps, whether it's card acquiring, whether it's, bank transfers, they're growing. They're growing every day. It just means that you've got more access to buy anything. What we're seeing in the background now is you're seeing a lot of people who buy stuff, it's swollen in value, and they want to know how they can address some of that, make a yield off it, and have it not just sat there. And that, I think, again, is coming back to kind of what we're looking at this year. It's all feeding in together, like whether people hold the underlying crypto, whether they chuck it in a fund, a VC, or an active fund, whether they hold an NFT and they don't know what to do with it. A lot of people realize, hold on, there's a whole world underneath crypto where people are trading and automatically generating yield on almost any product. How can we organize that and plug that into, say, my bank account? I've got 10 million quid sat there. Why am I not earning 10% off that? And that's the problem I think that 22 is going to solve.
Thanks a lot, Ben. Lots of interesting discussion there and an exciting year ahead. Right. Time now for the crypto equivalent of winning the lottery. Let's find out which one of the countless currencies has been randomly selected for our coin of the week. In the spotlight this week is Solana, a top 10 cryptocurrency and a blockchain built on proof of stake. Last year, 2021, was without doubt its breakout year. It's one of the fastest growing ecosystems in crypto, with NFTs having played a huge part in that, but also it has over 400 projects across DeFi, Web3, NFTs, and more. It's billed as being able to handle up to 50,000 transactions per second on its site. And on the data that's out there, it's currently handling around 2,000 transactions per second. And just to put that in perspective, Ethereum in its current state handles approximately 14 transactions per second. Some celebrity fans are the likes of Mike Tyson, who recently has tweeted he is all in on Solana. The crypto god, Mike Tyson. Maybe we'll have him on one day. And Ben, BCB Group, what have you seen around the Solana network and ecosystem? And has there been a lot of interest from your clients within this?
Oh yeah, definitely. I mean, on our trading desk, it's the third most traded coin behind Bitcoin and ETH in terms of private clients and institutional. It definitely saw a lot more buy flow in the last sort of 6 to 8 months. We've started to see some people take some profits here. It's had a really, really decent run. But certainly in terms of the protocol, it's one that is getting plugged into almost everything, every major platform out there. We're plugging it in, and we're big fans of Solana and the team. We're plugging it into all the stuff we've got coming out this year, alongside the likes of Etherum, etc. But it's just fantastic when you actually see the thing operate, and you see how quickly these settlements happen. It's sort of a nerdy little joy to see, and we get all very excited, especially the dev guys.
From my experience, when you're minting an NFT and the gas fees don't cost the same amount as the NFT, then it's quite a big plus as well.
Yeah, that's stopping me getting my Ben Sebley NFT out there, annoyingly. We'll get there.
We'll launch it on Solana, don't worry. Next week, we'll be back with another coin of the week. Now, fear, uncertainty, doubt, not just really bad names for men's fragrances. Take note, marketing execs. It is, of course, the acronym for FUD. With FUD on their hands this week is UK Chancellor Rishi Sunak, who launched a crackdown on potential misleading cryptocurrency adverts. In future, crypto ads will be subject to Financial Conduct Authority, the same as other financial ads or promotions. And the Chancellor had this to say: crypto assets can provide exciting new opportunities, offering people new ways to transact and invest, but it's important that consumers are not being sold products with misleading claims. Fair enough. Relatively positive in his first part of that statement. Maybe if he is going to have a run for the top job, he might take a leaf out of the New York Mayor's book and add Bitcoin to his campaign trail. What do you think, Ben?
Yeah, I mean, look, it's in the UK, certainly the big concern for the regulator is clearly the retail market. I mean, look what happened in 2017. You know, scam claims are still a thing. A big part of what we deal with is fraud for our clients. We're constantly speaking to not only the police, but also the regulators to help protect people. And that's why you're seeing something like this. But actually, the tone, like you said there, especially at the top with Rishi, the tone from the regulator is that they are very, very pro-crypto. However, a lot needs to be done to protect retail. And in the UK, we're slightly on the kind of risk-averse side of that. But there is precedent, and we get it. We get why. Thankfully, BCB are a B2B company, so we don't fall under a lot of that.
I'll give you a little story. Actually, at the last peak, the last one, the one before, where Dogecoin was rallying up, I wandered into a garden center, and as I walked in, the two guys who worked at the garden center, one was telling the other to buy Dogecoin, and I thought, we've hit the top at this point. I hope the guy didn't, because it totally crashed after that. So more fear, uncertainty, and doubt next week. Now, to help us get to the crux of burning issues, let's turn to a group of people who are really in the know. I'm talking, of course, about crypto miners. See what we did there? As the song goes, I believe the children are our future. Teach them well and let them lead the way in crypto. That was how Whitney's remix 12-inch went, I think. Anyway, let's have our first crypto miner.
Buongiorno, my name is Francesco from Bologna. Now, I'm trying to make money from gaming. What are the best play-to-earn games out there?
Well, the most well-known play-to-earn game out there is probably Axie Infinity. It absolutely exploded last year with a large group of users or gamers coming from the Philippines and Indonesia, where they were able to earn as much, if not more money than they did working during a pandemic. So I would say that's the most widely played play to earn game, but this sphere is going to have competition hotting up, and I do think 2022 will be the year we see many, many more games out there. And are we going to run into a future where we can earn cryptocurrency from our attention and games? So keep your eyes peeled for what is next. Okay, let's go to question 2.
Hi, I'm B from London. What's the point in a government-backed CBDC if we've already got perfectly working stablecoins?
Great question. This might be one on your recruit list. I think B knows as much as we do about this stuff. What's the point in a government-backed CBDC when we've got a perfectly working set of stable coins? What do you think, Ben?
Well, B's more intimidating than our COO, who's quite a frightening chap, and she's got a strong future ahead of her. It's a really, really good question, but actually, the old Bank of England chancellor came out with a good explanation of this, and basically, it just makes money better. It makes it go quicker. It allows you to trace money. It allows you to obviously qualify it as well. So there's so many benefits to CBDCs. Now, when are we going to see it? Well, some parts of the world are trialing them, but realistically, sort of in the UK, I think it's 3 to 5 years. So maybe when B's old enough to get a job with us, she can see her first CBDC.
That's it. And Rishi Sunak championed Bitcoin, didn't he? Which sort of maybe hark back to New Labour's days and getting Oasis into Downing Street in terms of trying to keep up with what's going on. What were your thoughts about that?
It's great. I mean, this is off the back of the recent update in regulation concerning kind of stable coins in the UK. And quite frankly, they came out really simplistically and said, look, it's e-money. That's great because what it allows sort of private innovation, which we're seeing, and we might have a couple of announcements here soon on this. But you're letting the government basically pave the way with private innovation with the likes of, say, Circle and USDC and other companies. And that then does basically the trial and error they need to do ahead of potentially launching a proper CBDC. How it all mixes together remains the question. That's why I think timelines here are going to look a lot more lengthy than maybe some people estimate. It could be a 5 to 10 year project, to be honest.
Yeah, brilliant. Thank you. A big thanks to Ben for joining us this week. We may need to get him out of military retirement to track John down in Cuba. So hopefully he'll be back next week and we will have a new crypto god. That is all for now. Have a good week.